Hey, how's it going? We're going to talk about the changeup today, and I got a great question. We're going to get into the question in a second. We're going to talk about how you're supposed to use your legs in the changeup, a few misconceptions, things you should be doing, things you shouldn't be doing, and like I said, we'll get into that question in a second. But I wanted to say real quick, and I know you guys don't like me talking before we get into the questions, but I just want to say thank you to those who reached out and left a comment and left your condolences for my uncle who passed away, my godfather. I really appreciate those comments. It means a lot to me. You know, he was a very loved man. I loved him a lot. I miss him a lot. And I just really appreciate, you don't know the guy, but you left me nice comments. So I just really, really appreciate those kind words. My cousin, his daughter, gave me his necklace and charm. So you're going to be seeing me wear this for as long as I have it. Hopefully I have it forever. But again, I just appreciate that, and you guys are the best. That's what I'm getting at. So thank you very much. But let's get into the question about the changeup, because everybody wants to throw a nasty changeup, or at least I always wanted to throw a nasty changeup. And we got a great question from Brian Vilwalk, and he says, in a previous video, you said that a good way to throw a changeup is to pronate, to keep the back leg dead and to slow your arm speed. From a college coach I took lessons from, he said basically the complete opposite of everything you said. If you keep your back leg still, the batter will be able to know that you are throwing a different pitch. Also, if you have a loose enough grip on the changeup, it'll go slower. So you don't have to slow your arm speed. Finally, the changeup is supposed to be a pitch that looks like the fastball but isn't to the batter. Pronating will tell the batter that you're throwing junk. I don't know if studies have changed or something, but I would like to know if your opinion is still the same or not. Thank you for that question, Brian. Yes, my opinion is still exactly the same, even though what your college coach or your college coach that you took lessons from is saying is what I was taught when I was taught the changeup. So, and that may work for him, okay? I don't know, but what I'm teaching you from, and you said something about the studies changing, I'm not talking about any studies. I don't know anything except for what I experienced, and that's all I try to offer you guys in these videos is my perspective. I try to look back and remember what it felt like from a visceral standpoint, throwing pitches, and explain them to you, and hopefully you can take something from that and learn from it. Now, with that being said, you're going to have 100 different coaches in your career. You're going to have me, the guy on the internet. You're going to have the guy you take lessons from. You got mom and dad, maybe grandpa, whoever's in your life. You've got different coaches every different year. You've got fall ball coaches, summer ball coaches. You're going to have so many different coaches. Guess what? A lot of times we're going to give you conflicting ideas, conflicting pieces of advice. Your job, and I wish I would have learned this earlier as a player, your job as the player is to listen to everybody, learn from everybody, take what makes sense to you and what's working and keep it, and get rid of the garbage. Listen to everything, try it, but if it's not working and it doesn't feel right and it doesn't make sense, get rid of it, throw it away. If it does feel right and it's making sense and it's working for you, keep it. And over time, you might have to make changes too. Something might work at first, and then you got to tweak it as you go, but you always have to keep learning, and you have to keep piecing together what works best for you, okay? Maybe your college coach, that worked for him. I'm telling you what worked for me. So you need to do that as a player. I didn't start doing that until professional baseball. I wish I would have started doing that earlier, because what I did before that was I would get one piece of advice from one coach, try it, do it as best as I could, and then down the road, another coach would tweak it, give me totally different advice, and I'd start doing that. If we listen to every single coach every single time, you know, it's going to be hard to be consistent, right? If you're tweaking things every couple of weeks, you're never going to be consistent. So your whole job as a player is to learn as much as you can and stick with what's working for you, because everybody's different. Every pitcher is different, okay? That's my best piece of advice for you. Now, to get deeper into the changeup, let me explain why I believe what I'm saying to you. So you said pronation. So for me, pronation is huge on any pitch. You want to throw, well, not every pitch, but your fastball, your two-seam, your sinker, you know, you're still going to pronate and decelerate on your other pitches. It's just going to be much later after release point. But those pitches you're still pronating on. The only difference on a changeup is you're going to pronate a little bit earlier through your release point, okay? Before your release point and through your release point. Batters are not that good. Don't give them that much credit. They're not that good. I used to throw a slider, right? My fastball, my sinker was almost straight sidearm. and I came up almost straight overhand for my slider sometimes. And they couldn't pick that up. I throw 55 footers in the dirt, they'd be swinging at it. They cannot pick that. This is at the professional level. Hitters are not that good. They're not going to see these tiny little things. I know you hear people say it all the time. You know, they're going to pick it up. They're going to pick this up. They're not that good. They can't do that. Okay. You know, maybe the best of the best of the best can do that, but your typical professional hitter, college hitter, youth baseball hitter is not going to pick that up. Okay. So pronating a little bit more on your changeup, they're not going to see that. Same thing with the back leg. If you're worried about them picking it and seeing a different pitch, that's not going to happen. So the reasoning for deadening your back leg, I learned this from one of my pro ball coaches, is you're not getting as much drive. Think about it. The changeup is you're trying to throw a pitch slower. What do you want to do if you're trying to throw a fastball very fast? You need to drive off of the mound, right? Use leg drive. Use your legs to pitch faster. If you're trying to throw slower, you can deaden that drive. Just deaden your back leg, right? And that was a great tip to me, and I felt it, and it worked better anytime I was trying to throw slower pitches. Now, in professional baseball, I didn't throw a changeup. I threw a Vulcan for a while, so I threw it very similar to a changeup, like your traditional circle changeup. So for the Vulcan, I would deaden my back leg when I was throwing it. Even for other pitches, when I was throwing a BP fastball, I would deaden the back leg. You know, even a slider I was trying to take more off of. Usually I threw my slider at max effort, my slurve at max effort. Same with the forkball, but obviously the fastball too. But when I was in very certain situations and I wanted to take some speed off of the pitch, I would deaden the back leg. So that, for me, that helped a lot. The other thing we talked about was arm speed, right? You hear all the time, you're throwing a changeup, you want to throw it like like a fastball, like make it look like a fastball. Keep the same arm speed, right? That's another thing where I would like to take a little bit of speed off, especially on the Vulcan, my changeup that I threw for a little while. I would take a little bit of arm speed off because I wanted to widen the gap of how fast the difference was between my fastball and my changeup, right? If you're only throwing 5 mile an hour difference, you know, that can help, but it's not a great difference. You want to be like 10 to 13 mile an hour difference, in my opinion. Again, I don't know what your coach is saying, and I'm not saying that he's wrong again. So don't run, you know, to your coach and say, yo, this dude on YouTube told me that you're an idiot. I'm not saying that. You know, if it's working for you, take it, keep it. I'm just offering my perspective for you to listen to, try to, and if it works for you, keep it, right? Slow down your arm speed just a little bit. Now, with that being said, I still like to be deceptive, and I still want a fastball to seem like it's coming. So what I would do was look like I was being aggressive in my delivery. So even though I was deadening my back leg and slowing down my arm speed, I would be real aggressive with everything else in my body. So I would really kind of like look like I was about to throw a very fast pitch, and I'd even grunt sometimes like I was coming real fast, and then out front. So I still wanted to be deceptive. I still wanted it to look like a fastball was coming because it's a split second, and if they think that fastball is coming, it's 10 to 13 mile an hour difference. That's how you're going to get those batters out. Again, if you think about pitching in its simplest form, it's to mess up the batter's timing and balance. We mess up their timing by throwing fastballs and slow balls, changeups, right? We mess up their balance by throwing in, out, up, down. That's the simplest form of pitching. When you can look at it that way, you're going to be a lot more successful. So try those out. Try those changeup tips out for you. If one of them works, keep it. If the rest don't, throw them away. If they all work, keep them. If none of them work, throw them all away. I don't care. I'm just offering you my perspective on what was working for me when I was throwing the changeup. So I hope that helps. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the question. It was a good question, long thought out question. And yes, my opinion is still the same on the changeup. I'll leave my P.O. box down below. You can send me the $60 for our lesson today here on the internet. Appreciate it. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Comment down below, and I'd be happy to answer your question in a video here. Again, thank you guys so much for everything, and I'll talk to you in the next video.